To Rockford University, and on behalf of our newly formed Global Affairs Council and our first event, we appreciate everybody that is coming in attendance. I am obligated to let people know that this is being recorded. And when we're done, we will be posting this up onto the web so that you do know that anything you do say might become public knowledge. They can be used against us, yes. The Global Affairs Council is new to Rockford University, and it is our first attempt to take a look at something similar at other institutions and across the United States, the World Affairs Council, which hosts events like this to provide not only information but an opportunity for dialogue. And we want to thank I still call you my congressman, is it okay? Sure. Okay, my congressman, Don Manzullo, who has been a driving force for us here as well as with other World Affairs Councils. And I'm going to stop and introduce the Honorable Don Manzullo, and he's going to be our moderator for the day. So let me turn it over to Don.
Thank you. We are delighted to be here this afternoon. My name is Don Manzullo. I had the honor of representing you in Congress for 20 years. I retired at 11:59 a.m. on January 3rd of 2013, and 2 hours later I showed up for my new job as President and CEO of the Korea Economic Institute of America, located in downtown Washington, D.C. The Korea Economic Institute is a 9-person combination think tank public policy organization. We publish 3 academic journals, give seminars all over the country. And this particular weekend, we have been at the Association for Asian Studies in downtown Chicago, where over 3,000 people across the world who are interested in Asian studies have converged upon. And we've had, what, 5 panels? 4 panels of scholars that talk about various issues involving international affairs. So I couldn't come this close to Rockford without capitalizing and bringing in 2 of our scholars and really good friends of mine. We're joined here by my beautiful wife Frida, my brother Frankie's back there, and Phil Eskeland. Phil and I have been working together since January of 1993. He's held various executive capacities in my congressional office and when I chaired the Small Business Committee. I had the opportunity in attending American University and studying under Lord Lindsay of Berker. He was a member of the English House of Lords who had started the Asian Studies program at American University just a year before. He had taught at a very small Christian college in Beijing, along with a fellow by the name of Leighton Stewart, and he was quite inspiring to me. Leighton Stewart, his good friend, later became the first ambassador to China, and that little Christian college is now part of Beijing University. One of the great starts of the university system in China. So we have 3 outstanding scholars today. I'm just going to briefly introduce them, then give each of them the opportunity to tell a little bit about themselves, their background. A lot of students here always want to hear how you got to be a professor and what you like to do. Let me first start here with Roxana Edu, who is assistant professor of economics here at Rockford University. Then we'll go to Park Jin in the middle. Park and I served in our respective legislators together. He used to bring the Korean delegation for the Japanese-Korean-American interparliamentary talks. That's how we met a long time ago. And then Gil Mosman, who's retired from Princeton and whose full-time job now is being a grandfather. He can explain that to you. So, can I call you by your first name? Roxanne, please tell us about yourself.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Roxanne Aidu. I'm originally from Romania. I came to the United States as an international student. And I think that every time that I meet an international student here on campus, I'm very happy to relate quite a bit to their experience, and I'm happy to see a growing international student population here at Rockford. My background is mainly in economics. That's what I'll focus on talking about today. It's been a passion of mine ever since growing up during Romania's transition from a communist country to a more market-based democratic economy and country. And I've arrived here in the United States as an undergraduate student. I started as an undergraduate student at SUNY Plattsburgh, State University of New York in Plattsburgh. And my interests there in economics were developed. I was very happy to learn a lot in that institution and continued at graduate school at SUNY Buffalo, where I finished my doctorate in economics. I've been working here at Rockford University for 3 years. This is my 3rd year now, and specializing in international economics in particular. And a lot of the times these issues come up in our classroom discussions, so I'm happy to have this opportunity to talk more extensively about a very vibrant region of our world economy, the Asia Pacific. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Jim Park. I'm very honored to be here to visit the city of Rockford. This is my first time to be visiting this wonderful town, and also the University of Rockford. I found this university very friendly and also very open to international community. I met with students from the Middle East and students from Asia, including one Korean student who is studying Miss Lee. And I hope that our visit to this town and university would somehow contribute to the closer relationship between this town and Asia, in the case of Korea, certainly. And I hope many Korean students can come to this university and study English and economics or cultural studies or whatever to find their career. I studied in the United States myself, in Boston and New York. And back in Korea, I served as a press secretary to the president during the 1990s. And then after that, I ran into politics, like Don Manzullo, and represented my hometown, which is the central district in the capital Seoul, for 10 years. Elected 3 times in the Korean Congress, we call it National Assembly. My area was foreign affairs and trade and unification. In foreign affairs, I visited the United States almost every year to discuss our bilateral relationship and economic and security partnership between the 2 countries. The United States has sent its troops to the Korean War. At that time, President Harry Truman made a very important decision to send the American young people to defend the freedom and democracy of Korea. And then still we have 28,500 US young men and women serving in South Korea to continue to contribute to our freedom and democracy against the North Korean communist state. So our alliance, which was created out of the Korean War, still continues. This very flourishing alliance, very successful alliance, and I'm sure that we will continue to become very close friends in the future as well. Korea Economic Institute, which Congressman Dan Mazzullo is leading in Washington, D.C., is doing a great job of cementing this bilateral partnership between Korea and the United States. And I'm very happy to come to this town, the hometown of Congressman Dan Mazzullo, to meet with all of you. Asia is changing rapidly, and Korea is right at the center of that phenomenal transformation of Asia as the engine of growth in the 21st century, but also as the region of sustainable economic growth and also globalization of many countries in the region. China is the biggest economy. Japan is the second largest. Japan used to be the larger economy, but has been reversed. India, the third largest economy. And whether you believe it or not, Korea is the fourth largest economy in the whole of Asia. We used to be a small country. We still are a small country, but we're one of the poorest countries in the world. Right after the Korean War, the per capita GNP was less than $100 per person. But now Korea has the per capita GNP of $30,000, which is about 300 times larger per capita GNP in the last 6 decades. I think perhaps Korea is the country that has developed most rapidly in the history of the economic development around the world, and that would not have been possible without this strong alliance between Korea and the United States. So we are very proud of that, and therefore, based on this successful partnership, we will continue to expand our economic activities overseas and also to contribute to the global peace and security. Finally, our goal is to unify the country that has been divided more than 6 decades, almost 7 decades. Despite the demise of the Cold War, countries are still separated, and we are the same people, speaking the same language, having the same historical and cultural legacy. So there is no reason why Korea should be remain as a separate country. And in order to unify these two Koreas, certainly we need a very strong alliance with the U.S. And also to persuade countries like China and Japan and Russia, the surrounding countries in Northeast Asia, to support and contribute to the eventual unification of two Koreas. And this is a political and military issue, but at the same time, this is an important humanitarian issue, because people in the North are going through serious sufferings in terms of economy, in terms of human rights, and in terms of isolation from the international community. So we want to somehow provide freedom, human rights, and the quality of life to these people who are suffering in North Korea. My parents came down from North Korea during the Korean War, and then they got married in the south, and I was born in the center of Seoul, which I representing the Korean National Assembly. So I have a personal interest and also personal desire to introduce the unifying Korea on the Korean Peninsula. And I think that today's discussion in the Rockford University, it will be a very important opportunity for us to get to know each other and to learn about what Asia is doing, where we are going, and what we can do together between US and Korea, and also between Rockford University and as well. Thank you.
Let me go back to you first. Tell us about your educational background. It's quite interesting. Then we'll get to Dr. Ross.
Okay. I studied law at Seoul National University, and then I joined the government as a young diplomat, and then came to Boston to study at the Kennedy School of Government in Harvard, got my master's degree, and then went to Britain to finish my PhD at Oxford University, and then came back to serve as the press secretary to the president, as I mentioned. And after I finished my job, I visited the US again to study in New York at the NYU, New York University, the legal studies, American law, constitutional law, international law, and so on. So that's my academic background.
Thank you. Gil, tell us about yourself, your background. Gil comes from Minnesota. You can tell that by his Midwest accent. Gil?
Well, it's nice to be back. I feel as if I'm coming back to my roots. I've been on the East Coast since I graduated from college. I went to a small college in Minnesota, Carleton, after starting my interest in international relations as a high school student, particularly in Minnesota. There was a World Affairs contest run by the local newspaper, and I was fortunate to be one of the winners. But what that meant was that week after week I paid a lot of attention to what was going on around the world. I followed the news and got very interested. And so when I won this contest, I got to go to Washington and be feted by various people, met President Kennedy and others. And then in college, I started by studying Russian, and then I learned about an opportunity to go to a junior year at Princeton University to study one of the critical languages, or to combine Russian and Chinese studies, which is what I did. And so from then on, I became a specialist on Asia. That was a time when there was a lot of turmoil. Of course, we had the Cold War, and it was Moscow versus Washington. But we also had, new tensions between Moscow and Beijing. We had Japan's rise, and what would that mean for its role in Asia as opposed to just being a dependent ally of the United States. And there was always the aftermath of the Korean War and what North Korea was doing. And I got very excited about reorganization in Asia. What was going to happen to this area? And so I proceeded to major in Chinese and Russian studies and become a Japan specialist as a graduate student. And only much later began focusing on Korea as well. And now I see a comparable period where there's so much turmoil, so much change, so much dynamism in Asia, because many of these countries have risen economically so rapidly, and China's recent rise is the most dramatic and significant. And so now I'm trying to understand what's going on in this region by looking at these countries together and understanding what the U.S. policy should be. How do we deal with the complexities of the area that's going to be the center of the world in the future? There's just so many countries rising so quickly. And how does the U.S. maintain its leadership role working with countries in this area and avoid being excluded by China or a new Cold War situation where China and Russia work more closely together and perhaps support North Korea? What do we do about this region? So these are problems I began working on back in my Midwestern days, and I taught at Princeton for 46 years, and then formally retired last year and began work as the editor of a journal on international relations in the Asia Pacific called the ASEAN Forum, a new journal which is online.